Mission accomplished.
Seat as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Like, was that okay?
But wait, there's more.
The conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Hold up.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
there's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
with Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially and what that would mean or look like.
Oprah is so racist. That's not racist. Because even black people want to know. How brown the baby gonna be?
That conversation I'm never going to share.
Ooh, this is uncomfortable.
We'll talk when we get home.
Hello, my favorite friends. Good to see you, queens, princesses, duchesses, all of the above. Happy to be here. I am in Tennessee today, so everything's a little bit off, but hopefully you can hear me. Let me go over to comments and make sure everything is working. All right, we have Kathy in the house. Hi, Your Majesty. Maureen is here over from London. Liz, good to see you. And Deborah as well. All right. Janice is here. Hi, Janice. We have 2 chapters today. I'm looking forward to 2. The first one is suicide, and I'm very, very curious about that one. Mama Squirrel, good to see you. Welcome one and all. All right. And happy birthday tomorrow, Liz. It's exciting. You are all the first to know. I literally, right before I hit go live, got off the phone call with my son who got a job. Whoop, whoop. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. He goes, yes. He goes, with the unemployment numbers, the highest they've been since COVID, and with computer science being the #1 job that is hardest to get, I got a job. I'm so proud. So there was a reason I was going to say that. Oh, he starts on his birthday. A birthday triggered that in my head. October 6th, that's his birthday. It's his first day of work. All right. Okay. Let's see. Tracy's Fractured History and More is here. Good to see you, Tracy. Hello. Where's Mike? Mike who? Mike. Who's Mike? Sarah's here. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you. I will let him know. Thank you. Is it really, Mama Squirrel? October 6th, special day. Yep. You and I will be celebrating birthdays, and he will be enjoying his first day of employment. Let me tell you, the whole time he was in the car. I was so touched because he was saying that I'm like, can we do a really quick, he texted me and I have 15 minutes like before I was getting on here, and I said, or maybe like more like 20 minutes. And I'm like, can we do a really quick Zoom before I do my live stream? And he said, yeah. And so we eventually connected and all that. And then I realized he was in his car, sitting in his car still. And I'm like, oh, he didn't even go home yet. And he told me, he was saying he was just sending, he was letting people know. I go, oh, you're still in the car? He goes, yeah, I'm letting people know. So at the end of the call, I said, so who are all the people you let know? Ira's one, which is the girlfriend. And he goes, no, he goes, I just texted you. And then I was still texting. I was going to text more information when you said you want to do a call. So I'm so proud. Oh, sometimes you feel like they're slipping away. And then little things like that make you go, oh, because he's not really a mama's boy. You know, some of those mama's boys that go in and give their mom hugs and kisses and all that. I mean, I get a hug every time I see him, and he gives me a hug goodbye. And he says, I love you every time he says goodbye. I mean, I believe it's probably in response to me saying it first, but that's okay. So I was tickled pink that he was excited to tell me first, but he would be telling me about like benefits and what he was going to be making and what the guys are like he's going to work with. It's all guys in the office. And he would just pause and just stare off and go, yeah, I can't believe I have a job. Like, yeah, this is it, Zach. You're an adult now. It's official. He's like, I'm like, are you scared or excited? He goes, I'm just really excited. I'm like, oh, good. May that stay with you for many years, because it's going to get, I didn't tell him that. The grind is real. Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay, here we go. Suicide. So we're going to go through these 2 chapters. And right by the time I finish them should be almost exactly when my daughter gets home today. Good timing. So, because I'm in her bedroom. Well, her bedroom and her husband's, but he's been home working from in his office all day too, and I've been working from mine. So, all right. Let's see here. What do we start with? I wonder if I'm going to need to turn on more lights. The next 2 hours, the sun's going to go down. All right, we'll play it by ear and see what happens. Suicide. Meghan spotted an opportunity after Michelle Obama arrived in London to promote her best-selling autobiography. Having secured tickets to hear the former First Lady make her inspirational speech in the Royal Festival Hall on the 3rd of December 2018, she went backstage afterwards to meet her hero. Determined to fashion a special friendship, Meghan had also arranged that they would meet again for dinner at George Clooney's house near Windsor. As an idol to be emulated, Michelle Obama was also a good source of advice and consolation for Meghan. However, the Duchess appears not to have appreciated how much the Obamas admired the Queen. Uh-oh. I sense trouble ahead. Meghan's attitude alarmed Michelle. Her advice to Meghan was delivered in public. Quote, take some time, Obama said in an interview, and don't be in a hurry to do anything. In a warning note, she added, like me, Meghan probably never dreamt she'd have a life like this. No deal. The pressure you feel can sometimes feel like a lot. Is like no deal, is that like the same thing as like no cap? Like, I'm not lying. Is that like what the kids all say now? No deal, no deal. Yeah. Maureen says yes. Or Deborah says yes. Oh, Deborah says Maureen, yes. Okay, she's talking to Maureen. Okay. There's too much of a delay. I'd be sitting here in silence for a while when I actually am talking as to when you're hearing it. We're moving on. No deal. The pressure you feel can sometimes feel like a lot. Okay. Meghan, Obama suggested, should be reasonable. Quote, what I'd say is that there's so much opportunity to do good with a platform like that. And I think Meghan can maximize her impact for others as well as her own happiness if she's doing something that resonates with her personally, end quote. But that's all she ever does is stuff that resonates. I mean, everything is about Meghan. I don't know. I mean, I think it's good advice, but maybe not for Meghan. We'll see. Within Kensington Palace, Meghan was still struggling to settle in. Purposefully, she had isolated herself from many former friends, including Gina Torres and the other Suits actors. One exception was John Fitzpatrick. Oh, the guys were all still her friends. She just cut off all the girls. I was amazed to see the difference in Meghan, he recalled after a visit to the palace. White-gloved footmen stood with the hotelier while he waited for her arrival. Meghan came in, and her greeting was very formal. Once the staff left, Fitzpatrick asked, "How long have we got?" Looking at her watch, Meghan replied, "We've got exactly 29 minutes." According to Fitzpatrick, she relaxed and the gossip began. At the end of the allotted time, the staff returned and Meghan's formal look came on again. Well, she is an actress. American girlfriends visiting Meghan in Kensington Palace found a troubled woman. Cooped up in Nottingham Cottage, she complained that there were no staff to prepare meals. Are you joking? Are you kidding me? She has no kids. She has no real job. She's in this cottage and she's complaining she doesn't have staff to prepare meals. And now she's trying to pawn herself off as the next Martha Stewart, who does all this homemade stuff, who takes hours and hours to like create her own jams and make her own spreads. Everything is from scratch. She picks every single vegetable, every single herb. No. Mm-mm. I'm waiting for the episode. You know, she makes her own croutons too. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, you're right, Maureen. She had nothing to do, and she complains that she didn't have somebody to cook her. You know, if somebody would have cooked her meal, she would have been complaining. Not good enough. Okay. Ridiculous. All right, where was I? It just threw me off. Okay. She complained that there were no staff to prepare meals. No one treated her as royal. Who is she? She just married this guy. And she's upset. No, she's. I feel like even after you marry into the title, you're still not royal. Like you still have to earn it, you know? I feel like Kate earned it. She looks like she was born into it. It's hard to treat somebody royal when they aren't acting royal and are just acting entitled. Looking miserable, she mentioned being, quote, most trolled person in the world, end quote. People in the media were telling lies about her. Quote, it was so damaging to her mental and emotional health, end quote, one friend concluded. One cause of the difficulties was her reluctance to take on traditional royal duties. Treat me as a royal, but I'm not going to act as a royal. Just, the more we read about her, the more amazing it is. Okay. By early December 2018, Meghan had completed only 8 royal engagements since the summer. 8. I swear some people do 8 in a day. Oh gosh. That included Trooping the Color and the Remembrance Day service. Damaging stories appeared in the newspapers. The Sun offered the revelation that Meghan had been very excited at her Jamaican wedding, that each guest had received a gift bag with 5 spliffs of cannabis. Sometimes I feel like his writing jumps around a little bit. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't know. Or like, oh, okay, all right. But okay, thanks for letting us know. That evening, she made a surprise appearance at the British Fashion Awards at the Royal Albert Hall. Wearing an off-the-shoulder black Givenchy gown with matching black painted fingernails. Meghan told her audience, quote, "It is such an honor to be here celebrating British fashion and British fashion designers in my new home of the UK." Some wondered why Meghan could not for once have compromised and just worn a British design dress. This whole event is to recognize British fashion designers, and she wears a non-British fashion designer. Soon after the event, Meghan's photo on the British Fashion Council's Instagram site was deleted. Understandably. She should have been told, "Turn around and go home, young lady. That dress is not appropriate." Just like we had to tell McKelty when her cleavage was showing. You know, sometimes you have to just scold these young ladies. She should have been scolded. On the same evening, Princess Anne visited the International Maritime Organization's Safety Committee, and the Queen celebrated the 600th anniversary of the Bar Association. The revelations sparked Meghan's customary outrage about the media and Knopf's failure to suppress the embarrassment. In the midst of that argument, Thomas Markle gave another interview. Can't script it. "The treatment of me is harsh, hurtful, and unforgiving," he said. "I am being punished for things I didn't say." Because she gets mad at him for saying that, and she turns around and says the exact same thing. It's crazy. Meghan's letter had failed to stop him speaking. Fueling the flames, he also published a letter he had sent to Doria 5 days after the Duchess's speech in Fiji. "Meghan," he wrote, "is saying she wants nothing to do with me. And she," God, the way he writes. He wrote, "Meghan is saying she wants nothing to do with me, and she worked her way through college all by herself. She cannot change history, and I'm sick of the lies. I'm sick of being vilified and shut out of their lives. I always upheld my responsibilities as a father." Meghan's comments about paying her way through college are offensive to me. Upset that his provocation had not encouraged his daughter to call him, Thomas Markle appeared days later on TV for Meghan to put aside their differences in time for Christmas. "I love my daughter very much, and I would really appreciate it if she would call me." It's very simple, Meghan. It's very simple. Oh, gosh. Okay. Thomas's outburst tipped the balance for the Sussexes. Meghan and Harry were exasperated. They agreed to cooperate with Omid Scobie. As Knopf would later state, quote, "The book was discussed with the Duchess multiple times in person and over email," end quote. Her only irritation was Scobie's tweet describing Jessica Mulroney as Meghan's stylist. "You know," Meghan told Knopf, "how personally frustrating I find the stylist narrative." And then in parentheses, it says, "as it's the only thing I seem to still have any control over, my personal styling." Oh, I thought she was going to be offended because she's going to be like, "That's my friend. Stop just calling her my stylist." Maybe she started off as my stylist, but we've become friends and will be my friend for life. We're friends forever. Well, I mean, we know that they're not friends anymore. But anyway, that's what I thought she was taking offense at. She's taking offense at the fact that he's calling her stylist when she's like, "No, I'm styling myself." Give nobody else credit. Oh my gosh. All right, so she said, "How personally frustrating I find the stylist narrative, but given we are being asked to cooperate with this evidently authoritative biography, I will not be comfortable doing so if this person is considered to be an authority." Meghan was reassured that Scobie would be told the truth. In an email to Meghan and Harry, Knopf opened himself up to subterfuge. I just don't use that word very often. Being able to say, hand on heart, that we did not facilitate access will be important. Knopf's decision to trust Scobie was against his instincts and antagonism toward the tabloids. Inconsistently, with one breath, he criticized Vanity Fair as tabloidy, and on the other, he trusted Scobie, who recycled tabloid stories, even those which were patently inaccurate. While planning a 2-hour briefing for Scobie and Durand, Knopf was encouraged by Harry to be especially helpful. After 2 years of media onslaught, cyberbullying, puppeteering, Thomas Markle, etc., Harry and Knopf asked Knopf to cast Meghan in a positive light. Will you just lie for me? Translation. All right. Early on the 10th of December, Knopf sent Meghan a list of questions that Scobie had submitted for their meeting 2 days later. Once again, Knopf reiterated the need for deniability. I think it's important, he wrote to Harry, that we can hand on heart, that we can say, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. That we can say, hand on heart, they, Scobie and Durand, had no access to Meghan's friends and to the palace. Although Knopf advised against helping Scobie to meet Meghan's friends, he added, I am happy to facilitate either way. Despite this, Harry agreed with Knopf. Quote, I totally agree that we have to be able to say we didn't have anything to do with the book, end quote. For Harry to encourage Knopf was noteworthy. So was Harry encouraging Knopf's cooperation. Quote, equally, you giving the right context and background to them would help get some truths out there. The truth is very much needed and would be appreciated, especially around the Markle wedding stuff. While he and Meghan criticized Thomas Markle for speaking to the media, they were doing precisely the same. Determined to manage the narrative of the meeting to her advantage, that evening Meghan sent Knopf a 31-point briefing for his conversation with the authors. Controlling lately? Amongst her priorities, listed over 2 pages, was a revised biography of her childhood. Listen to this author cracks me up. She presented a revised biography of her childhood, i.e., she rewrote the narrative. No. This is my childhood. This is my childhood. 3 years earlier, she had written in Elle magazine that her parents crafted the world around me to make me feel like I wasn't different, but special. She repeated the same version to Vanity Fair in 2017. Quote, what's so incredible, is that my parents split up when I was 2, but I never saw them fight. We would still take vacations together. My dad would come on Sundays to drop me off, and we'd watch Jeopardy, eating dinner on TV trays, the 3 of us. We were still so close-knit, end quote. But for Knopf, she ignored the close relationship with her father and emphasized that she was very estranged from her father's 2 other children. She, Meghan, was always referred to as an only child by both of her parents. And all of her friends, through her entire upbringing, because the half-siblings were not in the picture by their own choice. All right, so basically everybody cut off the siblings because the siblings decided to cut themselves off. Is that what they're saying? Okay. Without explaining that Samantha was crippled in a wheelchair, Meghan wrote, quote, she had lost custody of all 3 of her children from different fathers. Whew, that's a rough thing to say about somebody, ain't it? Yeah. Ooh, all right. Meghan also asked Knopf to say about Thomas Markle, quote, Meghan supported her father in spite of his reclusiveness. Despite countless efforts to support him through the last 2 years, they now no longer have a relationship, end quote. This is what Meghan's feeding to Scobie to put in said book. Okay. She also, Meghan also is the one that wrote about Samantha. She lost custody of all of her children from 3 different fathers. Diggs, huh? Okay. Meghan's version of Tiaragate was that the Queen was present with Harry as she tried on 5 different tiaras. The Queen said they all suited her. After choosing the diamond one, of course, the Queen said, wait. After choosing the diamond one, the Queen said it was perfect. She also reemphasized that Jessica Mulroney was not her stylist. Did I mention? Not my stylist. Okay. Are you planning on giving them a rough idea of what she's been through over the last 2 years? Harry texted Knopf. If you aren't planning on telling them, can I? Of course. I've never stopped, Knopf replied that night. You mean I've never stopped? Are you planning on giving them a rough idea of what she's been through over the last 2 years? Harry asked. Are you planning on telling them, or can I? Of course, I've never stopped. Like talking about it, I guess? Okay. After sending Meghan further reassurances, Knopf met the authors on the 12th of December, 2018. I took them through everything, he reported the next day. They had been briefed just as Meghan and Harry required. The book, said Knopf, would be targeted at an American audience. The authors, he assured Meghan, intended to, quote, position it as a celebration of you that corrects the record on a number of fronts. I will stay in close contact with them, end quote. Later, he added, it's going to be very positive. Meghan was satisfied. Knopf had bent over backwards to help her. The palace was in overdrive to protect her. 2 years later, Meghan would exhaustively claim that neither she nor Harry had cooperated with the authors to put out their version of events by means of the book. Liar. In a signed legal statement, Meghan added that neither she nor Harry had wished to be involved in any way with the book. I mean, was it 31-point bulletin points that he was supposed to put in the book? 31-point briefing of the conversation with the authors. We didn't know anything about the book. We didn't participate. All right. What did I read? Oh. Okay. In a signed legal agreement, Meghan added that neither she nor Harry had wished to be involved in any way with the book. Prior to this meeting with Scobie, she added Knopf did not contact Meghan about any matters relating to the book. Don't know what she's talking about. Don't know what he's talking about. Knowing that the media would be watching her performance at Buckingham Palace's Christmas lunch and the royal family celebrations, Meghan was persuaded to be on show with the Sandringham royal party on Christmas Day. it's divided from different paragraphs. It's hard. You know how hard it is for me to say Sandringham to begin with? And then they divide the word with a hyphen. They're killing me. I don't know why that word's so hard for me. Smiling and apparently chatting, the Fab Four walked together the half mile to St. Mary Magdalene Church to neutralize the damaging stories about bridesmaids and the move to Frogmore. Meghan agreed to join Harry for the Boxing Day shoot lunch. Over 5,000 miles away in Mexico, Thomas Markle was spending Christmas alone, grateful for the call from a British journalist. He poured out his anger that his beloved daughter had been duped. Duchess difficult. She was, he said, just a pretty girl married to a former army officer who would never be king. Whoop! Thomas taking shots at Harry. It's ridiculous, cruel, and heartless. And unless she proves me wrong by going around at night urinating on homeless people, it needs to stop. Oh, okay. So unless you urinate on homeless people, everything else needs to, you just say positive things. Okay. That's when you say, you know what? Maybe they have issues. Short of urinating on people. Now at age 74, Thomas had convinced himself that within 5 years, he would be dead. Markle men, he asserted, never made it to age 80. To this day, he concluded, I cannot think of anything I've done to deserve how I am being treated now. I've been a good father. I've done nothing wrong. Axe murderers kill 19 people and their daughters still come to visit them in prison. Now it's like a dream that has turned into a nightmare. The royals and Meghan can help end it by simply giving me a call. Just a call, will you? Once again, Meghan was embarrassed by her failure to prevent Thomas broadcasting his wrath across the globe. She was also distressed by Frogmore's reconstruction. Despite spending £2.65 million to rebuild a 5-bedroom house, she was dissatisfied. Ugh, it's a piece of work. Dealing with the architects, designers, builders, and even the curator from Buckingham Palace responsible for the Queen's paintings and had not produced the results that she expected. Her expectations are higher than people who work for the Queen. I need better than that. Who's higher than the Queen? Bring them over. Friends and other clients heard from the contractors about Meghan's manner. Her constantly changing demands, said one contractor, seemed to be born from her assumption that a duchess was expected to behave like Marie Antoinette. Inevitably, their stories reached the media. Some were exaggerated, others were untrue. But the mention that the nursery would be painted with the Aro range from the Organic and Natural Paint Company exposed Meghan to ridicule in the tabloids. As the house neared completion, is it because it was expensive? Is that why? Is that like a real expensive paint? Why did they get? I mean, I feel like I kind of remember that story, but I wasn't really paying attention. That's just like another Meghan story. Yeah, she's difficult. Okay. Duchess difficult. Here we go. As the house neared completion, the contractors gained the impression that Meghan was unhappy. The new building, she appeared to suggest, was good enough for the staff, but where was the Duchess's place? Actually, palace, not place. Where was the Duchess's palace? Maybe I should put the light on. Frogmore's kitchen was small. The living room was cramped, and there was no view of the ocean. Come on. On top of that, life under the flight path to Heathrow was horrendous. Oh, I'm sorry, people. It's been a whirlwind of a week, and it's only halfway done. Her dissatisfaction came to a head when she unfavorably compared Frogmore not only to the $4.5 million William and Kate had spent renovating their Kensington Palace apartment, but to the California mansions inhabited by Hollywood celebrities. The combination of the horrors of Frogmore and the Queen's refusal to allow Meghan and Harry an independent court confirmed to Meghan that no one appreciated her. She also began to understand that the British monarchy, costing the public just £85 million a year, was neither flush with money nor an invincible luxury Rolls-Royce machine. The power and influence she assumed to have acquired from her marriage to Harry was an illusion. Harry's paranoia added to her sense of vulnerability. Gripped by fear of a random attack, they were both appalled by the prospect that members of the public could walk through Windsor Great Park, a short distance from their house. Please, nobody can be within 500 yards of me. Media photographers, they realized, could breach their privacy because of the absence of a much-needed ring of steel. To satisfy, that was a quote, to satisfy Harry's demands for protection, the public were ordered not to approach Meghan or her dogs in Windsor Park. The announcement did not win the Sussexes' popular approval. You think? Once more, Meghan and Harry blamed Knopf and his deputy, Christian Jones. They had failed to halt the stream of negative media reports. Knopf replied that his staff were constantly working. Daily, they deleted abusive messages on social media websites posted by frenzied online trolls. Some supported Kate against Meghan. The worst messages, they suspected, were generated by an orchestrated campaign in Russia. When all else fails, blame Russia. Harry and Meghan were not convinced. Seizing on the criminal conviction of one student for calling Harry a race traitor on social media, both accused tabloid newspapers of arousing racism. From the beginning, quote, "From the beginning of our relationship," Meghan later complained, "they were so attacking and inciting so much racism, really," end quote. Hypersensitive to even reasoned criticism, both believe that Knopf was ordered by Buckingham Palace not to respond to, quote, "a monster machine around us in terms of clickbait and tabloid fodder," end quote, because officials feared annoying the media. Buckingham Palace said Harry was, quote, "scared of the tabloids turning on them," end quote. Yet again, Meghan pleaded that she was undefeated by the institution and prohibited from defending herself against false stories. Neither recalled Meghan's answer during her BBC engagement interview that she ignored the media. Quote, "I made the choice not to read anything negative or positive," she had told the world. Both knew that was not true. She couldn't resist reading the media. For over 30 years, she had longed for fame. But now she was experiencing the consequences of what she called death by 1,000 cuts. A phrase used by every narcissist, I guess. Death by 1,000 cuts, all of you who watch Sister Wives too. Cody's phrase too. Oh man. I mean, it's a common phrase, but it just kind of cracks me up. So many similarities in what they say. Okay. Patrick Jepson, Diana's private secretary, partly endorsed the couple's grievance. He blamed the palace's deep-rooted complacency, conceit, and confusion for not responding to Meghan's complaints. Listen, she's such a little bee. Like, she can complain and complain and complain. I need more attention. I need more staff. I need somebody to cook for me. This is right. That's wrong. This is wrong. Oh, you must all be racists because nobody's listening to me. It's maddening. She is trying to set up the narrative that everybody must do everything she says all the time. Otherwise, there's something wrong with them. And she is the victim. It's insanity. Sorry about that. Side note. It has a fatal capacity for moral inertia when one of the big names is in trouble, he wrote. Just as Diana was cast adrift, continued Jepson, and Prince Andrew was not saved by the palace elite, nor did he deserve it. Actually, he was saved. He's living in a palace. The man's okay. Good Lord. What were they supposed to say? Everything is untrue? Meghan was let down by Knopf and the palace's media staff. Jepson described the palace's old-fashioned attitudes towards relations with the media and its belief that the monarchy would survive regardless. Knopf and his supporters were unwilling to shape a strong narrative to suit Meghan. Jepson's opinion was partly contracted by Knopf's efforts to help Omid Scobie and by Knopf's willingness to deny it. Often awake at night, Meghan and Harry classed themselves as persecuted outsiders. Quote, "I just didn't see a solution," said Meghan. "I'm just dumb. I can't find a solution that I like." She just didn't finish the thought, really, because there's plenty of solutions, but she doesn't like them. She has one solution, and it's everybody bow down to her and do what she says. And if you don't do that, then they're the problem. They're the racists. They're the people that aren't supporting her. Okay. Eventually she decided, quote, "I just didn't want to be alive anymore," end quote. Harry would later say that Meghan had told him about her, quote, "suicidal thoughts and the practicalities of how she was going to end her life." Suicidal feelings are usually the product of a profound psychological disorder, but Harry insisted that his wife, while she recited her thoughts, was completely sane and absolutely sober. Okay. He's rewriting medical science. Meghan's reason for contemplating suicide was the critical media. Do you think if I keep saying that word, this is going to get taken down? I don't know. We'll see. Was the critical media. Quote, "I'm somewhat ashamed," admitted Harry, "of the way that I dealt with it," end quote. He had good reason to feel remorse. Despite his expertise on mental health, he did little to summon specialist help for his wife. He would accuse his family of neglect, but he also offered contradictory versions. In one, he did not tell them about Meghan's crisis. But in another version, Harry said that ever since Meghan had been suffering suicidal thoughts, he had discussed with his family the idea of leaving Britain. The conversations about the possibility of leaving another country, revealed Harry, continued for over a year. The seriousness of Meghan's plight was dramatically revealed on the 16th of January, 2019. That evening, the Sussexes were the star guests at the Royal Albert Hall to see Cirque du Soleil. Although both smiled broadly as they arrived, she looked as glamorous as ever. Meghan would later claim that she could only overcome the previous night's suicidal thoughts by holding Harry's hand particularly tight. I don't know if that's how it works. "Once the lights were down," she said, "I was just weeping, and he was gripping my hand." She begged Harry not to leave her alone. So she says, okay. I just remember being like, I had 2 weeks in my life where all of a sudden I had this like really feeling of depression. Like I finally understood what other people talk about when they had it. It was just like, going through menopause, hormones up, down, everything. So yeah, like I went through that on 2 separate occasions, like 2 years apart from each other too. And it was like 5 days or something like that of just feeling so sad, so sad. And when I see pictures of her that night greeting people and being like, there's no way my facial expression would have been able to be like, oh, oh, and be in that state. And that was just depression. That wasn't, I had no suicidal thoughts. I was just sad, like so sad. And I could cry on a dime all the time then. But also, I couldn't fake it. Like, if you're really in it, I think. I mean, I don't know. Somebody might say different. All I know is my own personal experience. So it's hard for me to relate to this story because I see her that night and I'm like, yeah, no, I could never. I mean, I just wouldn't have gone. I would have said I was too sick. I could not have gone. She looked perfectly fine. She claims when the lights were down and nobody could see her anymore, she was crying because that's one way of saying that something happened. But there's no way to, even though all the people were there, you can't document it because people weren't taking pictures of them in the dark. In my opinion, although 6 months pregnant, said Meghan, she had not wanted to live. She said she had sought medical help from one of the most senior people in the palace. But, said Meghan, that help was denied by a woman employed in human resources with the explanation it would not be good for the institution. My heart goes out to you, the woman allegedly said, because I see how bad it is, but there is nothing we can do to protect you because you're not a paid employee of the institution. Wait, how is she not a paid employee? What the royal engagements are just, they're supposed to be, they're volunteer. I mean, doesn't Harry get millions every year from his father? I guess Harry's the one that gets it, huh? Not her directly. So there's no like stipend for her or anything? Huh. I don't know. After that snub, Meghan explained, I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that was a very clear and real and frightening constant thought. And I remember how he, Harry, just cradled me. She cannot go to a doctor or a hospital, she explained later, because they had taken my passport and my driver's license and my keys. She said she was trapped. The thing that stopped her from seeing it through, added Harry, was how unfair it would be on me after everything that had happened to my mom, and to now be put in a position losing another woman in my life with a baby inside of her, our baby. Verifying those events is difficult. Okay, so this is Tom's words now. Verifying those events is difficult. Pertinently, Harry and Meghan gave conflicting accounts of the saga. In public, they disagreed whether Meghan felt suicidal at night, in the morning, or both, and they did not agree on the number of days. Neither explained why Meghan sought help from an unqualified palace official rather than an experienced medical specialist. Harry never identified which member of his family had neglected his wife. Meghan's instability traumatized Harry. After sacrificing so much to marry into the royal family, she told him she had become an unprotected target. Harry felt guilty for failing to shield her from the conspirators. He struggled to find a solution. That is such a major accusation that she had suicidal and murderous thoughts. She had a child inside of her. If she would have taken her life, she would have taken the baby's life too. So she literally was so down that she was willing to commit suicide and murder. And she never managed to seek help. She was such a wilted flower that she just couldn't find her way to get any kind of medical attention. And nor could Harry figure out how to do this. That some HR person that's unnamed said she shouldn't do it, and then that was it. Meghan doesn't strike me as a person that doesn't get what she wants and doesn't push forward. So I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling to believe the truth of it. Okay, moving on. Chapter 26, exposure. Okay. Meghan confided her misery to girlfriends in America. Okay. During their conversations, Meghan disclosed that her father had ignored her plea to cease his attacks. Her letter, she said, had reminded him of the extraordinary kindness she had shown toward him and after the wedding. She mentioned her care for her father, her long history of looking after her father's welfare and trying to find solutions to his health problems. She also lambasted her father's refusal to come to the wedding. He was in the hospital and then recovering from heart surgery. Above all, she felt abandoned by him having heart problems around her wedding. Wait, that's not what it says. She felt abandoned by the very palace officials assigned to protect her. At the same time, she consulted two publicists, Isabel May, a personal friend in London who she had met through Marcus Anderson, and Keely Thomas Morgan, her Los Angeles publicity advisor. May denies giving Meghan any professional advice, but Thomas Morgan was sympathetic to Meghan's complaint. Persuaded that Meghan was regarded as an important part of the monarchy's future, Thomas Morgan was concerned that Meghan was not accorded the proper support. Thomas Morgan gave the impression that a high-powered publicist would close down the negative stories and simultaneously drive a total positive story enhancing Meghan. She encouraged Meghan to fight back. Over the Christmas holidays, Meghan's friends were dismayed to hear that the publication of Omid Scobie's book was delayed. They had agreed to be interviewed by Scobie to help broadcast Meghan's problems across the world. Now they believed it was urgent to find another platform to describe Meghan's plight. One of the women was a personal friend of Dan Wakeford, the editor of People magazine. This is why People does nothing but positive fluff stories on the two of them. One of America's biggest circulation publications. It used to be anyway. I don't know how many people still, well, they probably do. I don't know. I don't, but whatever. After setting out her proposition to Wakeford, he agreed to publish a profile of Meghan on the basis of interviews with 5 of her close friends. Lindsay Roth, Meghan's friend from Northwestern, was one of the magazine's principal sources. Meghan would later insist that the article was initiated and researched without her knowledge. Meghan, her lawyers would plead, did not know that her friends were giving an interview to People magazine. I had no idea. What? They did what? Others believe that nothing would have been done by her 5 friends without at least one of them telling Meghan their plan. After all, one of the key ingredients of the magazine's feature was Meghan's letter to her father. She would later deny using the letter as part of the calculated media strategy, or that her friends had even quoted her letter. Others suspected that without telling anyone at the palace, that she knew her friends would outline its contents, which she had described in telephone conversations to People magazine. On the eve of publication, Meghan appeared to be emboldened, visiting the 125 charity for marginalized women in Bristol. She wrote with a felt tip pen on bananas, "You are strong. You are loved. I'm sorry. And you are special." Some were surprised by her sentiments. The media ridiculed her. She was infuriated. The criticism, she asserted, was clearly racist. Clearly. She was similarly provocative during a visit to Manchester University. Many of the staff, she was told by the activist Rachel Cohen, were white and male. "This is quite a shock to see, and clearly we have some way to go," Meghan replied. Once again, observers were puzzled. After nearly 3 years as part of the royal family, Meghan was breaching the golden rule of impartiality. Moreover, those 2 visits, meeting 6 groups for 2 hours, plus seeing 2 theater shows in London and 7 other outings, was a total of her official duties in the first 7 weeks of the year. In those weeks, officials compared to Meghan's 11 appearances to Princess Anne's 25 full days. 11 appearances, 25 full days. Got it. The question was, did Meghan intend to play her part as a young royal, fulfilling her duties? Or was public recognition and celebrity more important? What do you think? We don't even have to ask. Moving on. The question was answered on the 6th of February, 2019 by the publication People magazine. Under the cover's headline, "Her best friends break their silence," the subheading was "The Truth About Meghan." More telling was the headline, "Meghan's Media Fight Back." Meghan, the magazine implied, had authorized her friends to brief the magazine. The article's substance was a flattering profile of a lovely daughter living a frugal life in Kensington Palace, who, despite being publicly maligned by a dreadful father, had sought heartfelt reconciliation. Wow, that's quite the narrative right there. The breakdown in their relationship, Meghan's friends claimed, was entirely Thomas Markle's fault. The published article gave the impression that Meghan had informed at least one friend about the contents of her letter to Thomas Markle and his reply to her. Summarizing excerpts of Meghan's letter to Thomas, People magazine described the letter as a loving offer of reconciliation written days after the wedding. In fact, Meghan wrote it 3 months later. Contrary to what she would later claim, the magazine had put the contents of the letter into the public domain. Meghan would empathetically deny being aware that the 5 had given interviews to the magazine or that the letter would be quoted. "I had no idea." She would also claim to have become aware of the magazine's publication only after Harry told her, and that Harry only heard on the day of publication from Kensington Palace's media team. No clue. 31-point bulletin, what? I don't know what you're talking about. No idea. Written by Michelle Tauber, the article described how Meghan had authorized 5 friends who know Meghan best to set the record straight. The 5 women described as longtime friend and former co-star, a friend from Los Angeles, a one-time colleague, and a close confidant. Painted an image of Meghan's elegance, grace, and philanthropy. How much philanthropy have we seen since she left the royal family? Remember, they were going to be the working royals in another country. She doesn't get paid. She doesn't do it. I don't know if that's philanthropy. If somebody's going to pay you to do it, it's just a job, even if it has a good outcome. Like people who run charities and people who, I have a friend who works for the Red Cross. It's not philanthropy, it's her job. It's like unbelievable, this woman. Well, you guys aren't going to pay us anymore, so we're not going to do any philanthropy. I suddenly don't have a giving heart. Funny how that works. All right. Rejecting the portrayal of Meghan as a demanding bride, an exhausting boss, and an uncaring daughter, the magazine quoted one friend's eulogy. She is a diamond doing her duty. The evidence was Meghan's purchase of an incredible ice cream and sorbet stand for her Kensington Palace staff. That, testified a friend, evoked heartfelt cheers for the best day of work ever. I mean, that's just so classic. Like, you just know people like that, right? I'm going to do one thing once. I'm going to do it grand so everyone talks about it. And then I wash my hands of it. This being good and being philanthropic and being kind, it's not for me. But I'll do it once so that I can say, oh no, I'm very thoughtful. See the fruits of my labor on this day, the best day of work of their lives. The rest were the worst years of working with Meghan, to the point that everybody left, but not everybody, but many. All right. Portraying Meghan as an unselfish woman living modestly. Oh gosh, this gets better and better. Another friend described Meghan as a lonely, frustrated, and denied any staff in Nottingham College. She complains she has no staff. And then she tells her friends, tell everybody I denied my staff. They tried to give it to me. I said, no, I can do it on my own. I can make my own banana bread. Nevertheless, she provided hand warmers for the police guarding the palace gates, painted her nails while sitting next to a heater, and was happy to rustle up to a 5-star meal out of a garbage in your refrigerator. What? Out of the garbage in your refrigerator? What is it? Nevertheless, she provided hand warmers for the police guarding the palace gates, painted her nails while sitting next to a heater, and was happy to rustle up a 5-star meal out of garbage in your refrigerator. She's very self-service, said a friend, describing an undemanding duchess with a close relationship with God. Oh, have we heard her mention or evoke God even once? Not I. And a deep sense of gratitude and humility. Sensationalizing her 5 a.m. emails, the friend said was a misreading of her organized, diligent, focused, and hardworking nature. Similarly, the staff turnover was all natural causes of employment. In her world, it's all natural. Most people don't have people drop like flies. Employees stay. Insensitive to the implication of Harry's incompetence, the friend said that Meghan helped him write his speeches. Finally, the friends dismissed the stories about the tiara and fragrance in the chapel as 100% untrue, and said there was nothing behind the feud with Kate. I'm so sorry if I make you yawn. I know it's contagious. Okay. Our friends have been on the wacky backy. What's that? What is that, Maureen? That's a British term. I don't know. What is the wacky backy? Aw, praying for you, Kathy. I didn't have a chance to read back through everything. But I'm going to pray for you. Oh, your mom. Something's up with your mom. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's rough. Keep her in my prayers. All right, where were we? Okay. The five friends' significant contribution was their description of Meghan's relationship with her father. They claimed that it was all false to suggest that Meghan had shut Thomas out. On the contrary, her letter had sought to repair our relationship. My eyes are getting crossed. The blame for not speaking or texting since the wedding fell entirely on Thomas Markle. She is too busy doing her own cooking to call her daddy. The magazine reported that Meghan had written, quote, "Dad, I am so heartbroken. I love you. I have one father. Please stop victimizing me through the media so we can repair our relationship," end quote. Their purpose, the friends told the magazine, was to tackle the lies, the emotional trauma, and expose the global bullying inflicted upon a pregnant person who loves her animals and loves her friends. Animals first, of course. All right. Focusing on Thomas Markle, one friend said he had ignored over 20 telephone calls and texts before the wedding from Meghan. Could that be when he was in heart surgery? Maybe. I don't know. Just throwing out the question. Quote, "He knows how to get in touch with her. Her telephone number hasn't changed." I mean, she blocked him, but it hasn't changed. "He's never called. He's never texted. I think she will always feel genuinely devastated by what he's done." Victimhood. Meghan, the magazine claimed, was hurt that Thomas refused to get into the car she provided to take him to the airport and had not even told her he was not coming to the wedding. Clearly, the friend relying on Meghan did not believe that Thomas Markle had undergone heart surgery or had even been ill in the hospital. All lies. I mean, it would be terrible if it was all lies, wouldn't it? We'd have to sympathize with Meghan. I do not believe it's all lies. I think that there would be medical staff at the hospital going, never happened, was never here. "It's super painful," the friend continued, "because Meg was always so dutiful. At the same time, because she's a daughter, she has a lot of sympathy for him. She took care of her father with such incredible generosity. The fact that this could be flipped around, that she was acting out or not caring for him, is preposterous." Meghan, that friend continued, had looked after her father financially and had been a rock for everyone in her family. She could no longer tolerate the pain. Meg had silently sat back and endured the lies and the untruths. "We worry about what this is doing to her and to the baby." Thomas Markle was accused by People magazine of being an outright liar. The source of all that information could only have been Meghan, not least because she repeated the same version of the loving, caring daughter cruelly spurned by her wicked father to Jason Knopf. The magazine's publication sparked a frenzied farce. Buckingham Palace was profoundly shocked. The magazine's contents were dynamite. No one could understand Meghan's plan. Since she was abrasive towards her father, palace officials asked how did she intend to treat the royal family? Oh, well, we will soon find out, right? The blowback in the palaces surprised Meghan. Knopf refused Meghan's demand for a fierce denial that she had any involvement. Meghan's claim to be upset and surprised by the article was treated with skepticism. The quotations from her private letter to Thomas Markle could only have come from her. Insisting that he only knew about the article after reading the British newspapers, Knopf's office replied, "No comment," to hundreds of media inquiries. Meghan would later protest about shared frustration regarding Knopf's refusal to comment. That left everyone feeling silenced, she complained. I am going to tell a story to my friends and have it be put into the paper that is clearly from me because it quotes things that only I know and I've seen. But then I'm going to say that I knew nothing about it and be really upset and victimized when the palace staff isn't supporting me in my delusion. You look crazy, girl. Since neither Kensington Palace nor Buckingham Palace denied the article was sanctioned by Meghan herself, most people assumed that the five had quoted her actual letter and spoken with her approval. People magazine never received a complaint about the breach of Meghan's copyright of her letter. Oh, isn't that interesting? Little Miss Litigious never sued over her letter getting put out into the public. I wonder why. Methinks she's a liar. Okay. In Mexico, Thomas Markle was once again fuming. Quote, "This article is a total lie," he cursed. "It misrepresented the tone and content of the letter Meg had written." Her letter had accused him of manufacturing pain, being paranoid, being ridiculed, fabricating stories, of attacking Harry, and continually lying. I quickly decided I wanted to correct that misinterpretation," he said. Meghan's letter, he claimed, was not an attempt at reconciliation. The letter didn't say she loved me. It showed no concern that I had suffered a heart attack. It actually signaled the end of our relationship. I just wanted to defend myself. He added, "Meghan's a liar and very controlling." End quote. Okay. To fight his corner, Thomas Markle showed parts of the two letters to the Mail on Sunday. And again, for everyone in America, the Mail on Sunday is a publication in London, I guess, maybe all of England. In publishing the extracts, the newspaper justified their breach of Meghan's copyright and privacy by claiming that Thomas Markle was entitled to contradict the magazine's distortions. Oh, that's an interesting way to go about it. No. We can publish this letter because it calls this person out and they have a right to defend themselves, so they have to see what they're defending themselves against. So here's the whole letter. Okay. All right, where are we? There was, the newspaper believed, a huge and legitimate public interest in the royal family and Meghan. Okay, I agree with that. She enjoyed immense privilege and wealth funded in part from public money. And she expected her elaborate handwritten letter to be leaked and published. Yes, she did. In reply, Meghan would claim that publication of her letter was part of the Mail's campaign to publish false and derogatory stories about her. In Los Angeles, Meghan's advisors were convinced that the British media's criticism of Meghan was racist, sexist, and snobbish. Wait. Oh, those were the advisors. Okay. In Los Angeles, Meghan's advisors were convinced that the British media's criticism of Meghan, well, sure. I mean, because all of LA is a victim. So, I mean, that's no surprise there. They live in their own world. I mean, not all of them. My daughter lived there for a while, so I know there's good people in LA, generally speaking. The circles Meghan runs in. They encouraged their client to launch a legal action against the newspaper. Did she? Sunshine Sachs and her other publicists began searching for celebrities prepared to defend their client. Meghan suggested George Clooney. The actor was persuaded to enter the fray against the newspaper. Just as Meghan and Harry headed for an official visit to the Natural History Museum, Clooney's fusillade. Another new word. I should have been writing all these down. We should have had the vocabulary. We would have an amazing vocabulary. Fusillade started. Fusillade. Honest to God, another word I've never seen in my life. This man's intelligence and vocabulary surpasses mine in many ways. Okay, Clooney's fusillade started. Somebody look that up for me. What is fusillade? Anybody know? Can you look it up? I know I'm like about a minute ahead of you all, so now you're going to be saying, we wrote it in the chat. George Fusillades. What's that mean? Oh, enters the fray? It's Fusillade. Clooney's fusillade started. Missiles fired in succession. Oh, so Clooney really went to bat for her, huh? Missiles fired in succession. It's a military term. I bet Cody Brown would know. I bet he uses it this year. All right. In a statement issued by his publicist, he attacked the media for reproducing People magazine's article, "You're taking a letter from a daughter to a father and broadcasting it everywhere. She's getting a raw deal there. It's irresponsible," end quote. Next, he compared Meghan's fate with Diana's. Pursued, vilified, and chased. Like the princess, thundered Clooney. It's history repeating itself. We've seen how that ends. All right, well, this was not history. She took a left. The American movie star roused the British tabloids' anger. No paparazzi were chasing Meghan. That's true. So funny when she's every picture, there's nobody around. The time in the car, she's like, they're following us. There's like nobody following. The guy on the bike, he's a paparazzi. And then he like, just goes by. That was him. The one pap who's chasing us in New York. It's too good for words, actually, that this is all on camera and all on tape. No paparazzi were chasing Meghan. There had been no intrusion into her personal life. Not even an unapproved snap of her while pregnant had been published. Clooney, they asserted, had invented his version of events. Well, no, he just repeated Meghan's version of what she told him to say. The Sun rolled out their veteran royal photographer, Arthur Edwards, a Diana expert. Quote, "The biggest invasion of Meghan's privacy," he wrote, "was triggered by herself and her own family." Clooney's hysterical mischaracterization, argued Edwards, missed the point. While Meghan had declared war on the media, she went simultaneously to People magazine, arguing she had the right to speak. I mean, she does have the right to speak, but then people have the right to respond to what she says. So that's the part she doesn't get. Her father did not. Oh, she had the right to speak, but her father did not. So good. No, everybody has the right to speak, at least in America. Moreover, no one had forced Diana to sit without a seatbelt in a car recklessly driven by a drunk. These are facts. I just don't want to get into the details of that. Clooney was not thanked by many Britons for his intervention. Yet, even the Sun was unsure about the public's mood. Many readers still adored Meghan. To please them, the newspaper published Karen Bradley's description of Meghan as, quote, "gorgeous," she is, "and a positive person doing positive things." I mean, she was doing a couple positive things. I mean, apparently she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing in terms of the number of appearances and that, but when she does show up, it's positive. So, but that's her job. Like, oh, I don't know. Okay. A positive person doing positive things who had been appallingly treated by her fame-seeking father. I feel sorry for the man. With Clooney on her side, Meghan persuaded Harry that her methods were right. They should abandon the royal press officers and rely on her Los Angeles publicists. Ooh, this is where it goes awry. In the future, Harry and Meghan would distribute their own unfiltered message through social media. You can't enter the royal family and not rely on the royal press to help you out. The publicists in Los Angeles is not the way to get through the royal family. What is she thinking? And I mean, Harry was just whipped, let's face it. It's no other way to put it. He just said and did. He also is a man-child, really. You know, I mean, he probably, some psychologist would probably go to town with stunted growth, you know, after a major tragedy that he went through and the secluded nature of where he was raised and brought up, and really not having a lot of opportunities to grow up, having too much done for you and handed to you, and feeling and being entitled, not feeling entitled. He was entitled his whole life. So he just never really grew up. And then here's this woman who's willing to completely control him and take over like Diana did, talk to him like his mother, use the phrases that his mother did, say that his mother's channeling her, wear his mother's perfume on their first date. Like, I mean, she just was able to manipulate him. Not that he gets a free pass on this one, but I'm just saying it's the cauldron of disaster and circumstances, and all of it together is just bleh. Joni says Catherine is beautiful. Marbles is cute without makeup. Catherine is drop dead gorgeous. Yeah, everybody says Well, I mean, we read in the book he couldn't get into the schools he wanted to, and then magically he did. But I mean, come on. It would have been the most royal embarrassment ever if he didn't get into Eton. So, money was exchanged under the table, allegedly, in my opinion, on his additional attempts to take the test to get in. Like magically, he was able to pass it. And no. 0 Fs. Yeah, she brought it on herself. That's the kicker. Yeah, my room is getting dimmer because there's no lights on in here. The only light is, there was a window on the other side of this laptop. So that was my light. So thank goodness that was the end of the chapter, because the light that you now see is the laptop light brightening me up. No one ever says no to him. Yep, there you go. Yeah, he was easy pickings. Yeah, I mean, she played him like a fiddle, and he fell right into it. So it's going to be interesting to see when the realization goes off for him and how that all plays out. Who is going to throw the other one under the bus the most? I think she will, because she can. I think the royal family is going to try to put a lid on it and tell him, take the high road. Don't say anything about her. Just move on, come back, be part of the royal family, be back in the firm, and move on and find somebody who understands this world and is from this world. I mean, it's got to be difficult for anyone to go into the royal family and have that be, I don't know, somehow it seems like it'd be really easy for me. But I imagine it's probably really hard. But I mean, I don't think Meghan ever intended in staying there. I mean, it was just her way to hook him and then take him back. And she thought he was the prize cow. I'll bring him back to LA with me, and everybody's going to want to see him, and everyone's going to want to talk to me because I'm married to a prince. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right. Yeah, she will. She's going to throw him under the bus. You're right, Kathy. 100%. Yeah. I mean, this is the only reason things are still going on with Netflix. I mean, granted that the thing that she did was already in the can from the last time. They did it all together. They just released half of it and called it season 1, and then released the second half and called it season 2. But it's not like, woo, it's in such high demand, let's make more. It was made, so they put it out. But Netflix is like, their new deal now is we get first dibs on any idea you have. They're brilliant. So they can pass on her for everything and just give her like this base pay to keep her on a writer, so that when the divorce happens and she wants to write a book about it or do a tell-all talk show about it, Netflix can say, we have first dibs. That's what the agreement is. They don't have to do anything else with her anymore. They're just like paying her $1 million or something, but they get $100 million for that other thing. Something like that. I don't know all the details, but basically, I don't know if a Disney deal's in the works, Joni. I hadn't heard about that, but it could be because, well, no, because Netflix is completely independent of that. If there's a Disney deal in the works, that would mean Netflix would have passed on it first, because they're supposed to have first dibs. That's supposed to be the agreement that they now have. All right. Well, I'm going to get going and say hi to the kids downstairs. And it was good to see you all. So Sunday night, those who watch Sister Wives, it's the premiere. I'm still going to be here like Monday and Tuesday, but I'll be driving on Monday and then visiting my other daughter and my other son-in-law that night and part of the next day on Tuesday. So I will definitely Tuesday night be there, but I'm not going to have an opportunity to like put any videos together or anything. I have 2 videos I need to edit, but I was busy doing speech therapy all day today. That I couldn't put on a back burner. I'm not allowed. All right. So we'll just kind of play it by ear, but I should be, anyone who's an SOS exclusive, I should be watching it live on Sunday night with you all. And then Tuesday, we should be talking about it live with everybody. And that'll be a good time. All right, love to you all. Next Wednesday night, we'll be back here reading the next 2 chapters. Starting to get to the second half of the book. It's exciting. All right, take care. Have a great night. Love you all. God bless. Bye-bye. Adios.